I spent 6 years actively working on money and creating abundance, and something was missing. I couldn't figure it out. I was reading books on manifestation and doing a ton of personal growth, but there was very minimal shift. And I was thinking, like, what am I missing? What am I not seeing? And then I found this book, which was simple but profound. The Having is a book that has completely changed the way that I'm viewing manifesting and abundance and really proving that the mountain is you. This book was written from the perspective of Chu Yeon Hong, who was a reporter in South Korea. And she really wanted to have a breakthrough healing in creating more money after her dad passed away. He had saved his whole life, was always afraid of running out, lack, and scarcity. And he told her on his deathbed that he really didn't enjoy life and he wished he had done it differently. So she sought out to find the financial guru, So-Yoon Lee, and asked for an interview. And it's a cool series of conversations between the two of them where Chu-Yeon actually starts applying these practices of having and how her life transforms as well. Principle number 1 is to have what you already have. It is this present moment that we should feel and focus on. Having must begin right now. It's not the future, but the present. Having is the way to change our lens from seeing what's missing to seeing what's there. Now, when I first heard this, it was kind of like a face palm where I realized, oh yeah, this practice of fully letting in, fully appreciating all the things I already do have. So I immediately started doing that. Every single day I put a reminder in my phone to really appreciate what I already had. And in the book, So-Yoon explains that even if you have only $1, like it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, what your story is about what's happening, but even if you have only $1, to really appreciate and have that. And she said that this is really hard for people to do because people collectively, there's this focus on what's missing, what's wrong, what do we not have, what's the next thing to get, like the hedonic treadmill of like constantly looking for that next desire in the 3D reality. And I noticed that I also had this. I have this expensive lotion that I buy that I love. And every time I used it, I noticed that I felt this fear in my body that I was running out. Even though I can buy another one, I didn't fully enjoy it. And when I noticed this, I really thought, wow, I really am focused on what's missing versus what I have. To the point that even though I love this lotion, I don't even get to enjoy it. All my mind drifts towards is the fact that I'm going to run out. And then I had these memories of my dad doing the same thing. He would always hoard and have 3 or more of everything that we needed in the home. If he'd only had one of it, it would make him nervous. And I noticed that I was doing the same thing. This coach who I really love, who is an excellent coach on emotions and the subconscious, Joe Hudson, he was talking about how we set up our lives to avoid feeling uncomfortable emotions, like the fear of lack, scarcity, feeling rejected, the fear of failure. And I had come in with this mindset and I was noticing, oh, I'm avoiding the feeling of running out because I noticed this tension and constriction in my body when it happens. So-Yoon Lee says that it takes about 2 weeks to 3 months to actually change the neural networks of our brain to stop the old pattern and switch to the new. But that as soon as we shift this pattern, we can start attracting in abundance right away. Like it doesn't actually take that long. If we're consistent with it, anytime between 2 weeks and 3 months, it will start shifting. And it did for me. Like it took a month. The second thing that she said to do was to create a having journal. Every 2 or 3 days to write down, I have, and fill in the blank, and then I feel, and then fill in the blank. When people follow the current in the water, they don't know where they're going, but they can see the overall direction of the flow by marking spots along the way and connecting them. Your having notes are where you write down those spots. When you write them, you'll be able to see where you're heading. And I noticed that the first month that I was journaling in this way, I would say I have, and then notice these feelings of scarcity and fear in there. And I was actually shocked at how my mind and my emotions were habituated towards the gap versus the gain. And so even with this lotion, I had to actively sit down and meditate on appreciating it. The fact that I even get to buy this expensive lotion, the fact that I get to have it now, even if it does run out, appreciating the income that I did have, the clients that I do have. And I got really present to how often my thoughts seriously used to go to lack and like looking on like, how can I get more? I need more of this to be okay. And I wasn't able to actually be present to what I had. So the having journal was a great concrete way to solidify this practice of shifting my focus back to what I have with appreciation, with gratitude. And I looked back a month after starting this journal and I saw the shift. The first 2 to 3 weeks, I noticed that it was really challenging and I was stressing about it and really having to be disciplined and bringing my mind back to it. But by the 4th week, I noticed it got easier. And as I continued this practice into the 2nd month, it got easier and more automatic. And I started just feeling more abundant. And then realizing that I actually have way more than I ever realized. I started appreciating the clients that I had so much more. And that's when I started noticing that more clients started coming in. I noticed that people started giving me gifts out of the blue. I started really taking it in and realizing this stuff had been there all the time. It kind of blew my mind at like how we can't receive more if we don't already receive what we already have. Then the next thing I noticed was the guilt that would come up when I did receive. No wonder it's been challenging for me to receive more, because if I feel guilty at receiving, I'm pushing away other things from coming in. And then I noticed the other day a friend who usually complains about lack and not having abundance. And when I offered her a gift, she also said, oh, no, I can't. And she felt guilty. And I started noticing who was having in my world and who wasn't. And the people who were having, I could feel this openness around them, this receptivity and this like joy at giving to them. And I noticed the friends who were more in lack and more in guilt and like pushing away. I noticed I also didn't feel as much of a pull to give to them either, whereas I felt drawn to giving to these people who are receptive. You can actually feel it in the energy field around them. The third and final tip that I'll share from the book has so many great tips, but these are the ones that stood out for me, is green lights. Using having signals. A green light means to spend, and a red light means to stop what you are doing. If you act contrary to your inner voice, of course your mind and body will be uncomfortable. A red light is worry and discomfort, anxiety and concern. When it is a green signal, it feels natural and comfortable. Think how natural it is to do what you truly want. It's as easy as flowing water. Having lets you enjoy what you truly want as much as you want. It's when you follow your inner voice that you feel most natural and comfortable. Your inner voice gives you the signals of having. You already know the answer yourself. In the book, they share this example where the woman says, well, my friend, she gets excited by going shopping all the time, but she has all this credit card debt. And Soyun says that is not having. Spending beyond your means is not having. If she has anxiety around her credit cards, but then joy from the little bursts she gets from buying things, that is not having. So that's when I got the distinction that you can have the excitement of something you want to buy, but if it's not a full green light, if it's not full excitement, full ease, appreciation, then that's not really a green light. That's just like retail therapy or something. So I started really listening to myself, like what was a green light and what wasn't. There was a friend who I really wanted to buy the book, The Having, for, and I felt just a pure rush of energy, ease, flow. My energy was uplifted. And as I scanned for it, there was no red light. There was no doubt in my mind that I wanted to get this book for this girl. And I did. And she totally loved it and has been applying it the whole time. And same with my other friend. So it's really taking the guessing game out of it, of like, should I do something? Should I not do something? Having my fears say, what if I miss out? And when I actually get really present to my body, to the knowing, I can feel the green light. I'll feel this steady flow of energy in my body. And it took me a couple tries to really get this right. But when I give myself a day or two and I sleep on it, I still feel that flow, that nudge, that inner knowing, then I do it. And it has always turned out in my favor. I had been wanting to go to a Unity church forever, and I kept getting that nudge to go. One day I got up and I went, and it turned out to be exactly what I needed to hear. It completely pivoted how I saw my creative structure and put me on this path where I was consistently showing up in a way I never had before. Whenever I follow the green lights, the main thing I have to say is that my energy keeps multiplying and increasing. To recap for the having, the 3 points that stood out to me the most: one, focusing on appreciating and really having what you already have. There is no way to make room to receive more if you don't first fully take in what you have. Two was the journaling, writing down every 2 days or so, I have and I feel, because this made the concrete neural pathways really sank in. And then the third is following the green lights and really giving yourself the space to tune in and feel and listen. What is a green light to me? I'm going to read a quote from this book that was super helpful. Everyone is born with the qualifications to become rich, just as they have the qualifications to be loved. Having is the power that attracts wealth. It easily enables you to get more water in your glass, even with the same amount of effort, and you have full control over all this with your own feelings.